Hi, welcome to the show and welcome back on WION A World of Sport. Let's first straight go across to the 16th BRICS Summit that is currently underway in Kazan, and we are getting you live visuals from the summit right now on your screens.
हमारी चर्चा कंस्ट्रक्टिव होगी। धन्यवाद।
These visuals that you are getting on your screens are right after the all-important, the all-significant bilateral between the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Chinese President Xi Jinping culminated. This was the first bilateral in almost 4.5 years. And the first one after 2019, months after which skirmishes in the Galwan Valley started, and of course there was a standoff between the two nations.
रहना चाहिए। आज इन सभी विषयों पर बात करने का अवसर मिला है। मुझे विश्वास है कि हम खुले मन से बातचीत करेंगे और हमारी चर्चा कंस्ट्रक्टिव होगी। धन्यवाद।
And of course, all through the course of the day at the bilateral, we've heard from various dignitaries of the member states. We earlier also heard from the Egyptian President Abdel El-Sisi. We heard from President Vladimir Putin of Russia. Prime Minister Modi also held talks with Vladimir Putin on the side. While we await the details of the bilateral that just culminated, just to reiterate, earlier on Monday, Foreign Minister of India S. Jaishankar has said that with the agreement that was reached upon on Monday, the two countries had returned to the situation that existed in 2020 and the disengagement process had been completed. Vikram Misri, India's Foreign Secretary, had said that the arrangement or the agreement entails a return in areas under discussion to the situation in 2020 as far as patrolling and the grazing activities are concerned. Let's go across to Siddhant Sibal once again, who is currently in Kazan, and he is witness to the proceedings that just concluded. Siddhant, give us the latest. What do you have from the ground there?
Well, we have heard the first comments of the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. He said that the peace and tranquility at the border should be a priority, saying it directly to the Chinese President Xi Jinping. He also called for the mutual respect, mutual sensitivity that should be there between India-China relationship. We have heard those comments in the past as well, but it is interesting and significant that the Indian Prime Minister has said those comments in front of the Chinese president directly to him. We saw the delegation level talks. The Indian foreign minister, Dr. S. Jaishankar, the Indian NSA, who is seen as instrumental in terms of making sure that there is a border pact. The Indian Foreign Secretary were present during those talks. The Chinese side also represented with their counterparts. And the meeting lasted for approximately 50 minutes. The focus was to share the ON's view. The Chinese president called for strengthening of the communication with India, and he essentially pointed out to the historical parallels in terms of India-China growth, and both countries being large countries economy-wise, the population-wise, and when the billion-plus populations of the two countries work together, that will be a positive development. But all in all, something that WION has been reporting in terms of how the relationship will go on. It is a very positive development. It is a positive trajectory for India-China relationship. The border issue looks like it has achieved a resolution. More details, of course, are awaited. We know that the Indian Foreign Secretary will be shortly briefing the media here in Kazan, and more details will be brought in front of the world.
Thank you so much, Siddhant, for joining us with the details. And of course, we are waiting for the Foreign Secretary, Vikram Misri, to address the press.
On the sidelines of the 16th BRICS Summit, my colleague, Secretary Economic Relations in the Ministry of External Affairs, Mr. Damur Ravi, who is also our Sherpa for BRICS, will make some comments with regard to the BRICS engagements. But let me say a few words about the Prime Minister's meeting with His Excellency President Xi Jinping, the President of the People's Republic of China. We have also put out a press release which should be available very shortly on the website of the Ministry of External Affairs if it is not there already. So as you all know, earlier today, in fact just a short while ago, Prime Minister Modi met with President Xi Jinping on the sidelines of the 16th BRICS Summit. This was their first proper bilateral meeting at delegation level in nearly 5 years, the last one being on the sidelines of the BRICS Summit in Brasilia in 2019. So let me just flag some points made by the two leaders during their meeting. This meeting happened, as you are all aware, close on the heels of the disengagement and patrolling agreement and the resolution of issues that had arisen in the India-China border areas in 2020. Naturally, the two leaders welcomed the agreement reached between the two sides through sustained dialogue over the last several weeks in diplomatic as well as military channels. Prime Minister Modi underscored the importance of not allowing differences on boundary-related matters to disturb peace and tranquility on our borders. And in this context, the two leaders noted that the special representatives on the India-China boundary question have a critical role to play in the resolution of the boundary question and for the maintenance of peace and tranquility in the border areas. Accordingly, they instructed the special representatives to meet at an early date and to continue their efforts in this regard. You may recall that Special Representative of India, Mr. Ajit Doval, who is also the National Security Advisor, and the Special Representative of the People's Republic of China, Foreign Minister Wang Yi, also a member of the Politburo, have met on the sidelines of international events, but they have not had a round of talks in the Special Representatives format since December 2019. So following today's meeting, we hope to schedule the next round of the SR's talks at an appropriate date. The two leaders also reviewed the state of bilateral relations from a strategic and long-term perspective. They were of the view that stable bilateral relations between India and China, the two largest nations on earth, will have a positive impact on regional and global peace and prosperity. And both of them stressed that with maturity and wisdom, and by showing mutual respect for each other's sensitivities, interests, concerns, and aspirations, the two countries can have a peaceful, stable, and beneficial bilateral relationship. As we have maintained during the last 4 years, the restoration of peace and tranquility in the border areas will create space for returning us towards the path of normalization of our bilateral relations. Officials will now take the next steps to discuss enhancing strategic communication and stabilizing bilateral relations by utilizing the relevant official bilateral dialogue mechanisms, including at the level of our respective foreign ministers. The two leaders also briefly reviewed regional and international developments of mutual concern and interest. They agreed to maintain close communication in this regard. Naturally, they also had a very productive exchange on BRICS and the potential for India and China to enhance cooperation on this particular platform. And in closing, Prime Minister Modi also assured India's full support to China's SCO presidency next year in 2025. Let me stop there and request my colleague, our Sherpa for BRICS, to make a few remarks. Thank you.
Good afternoon, friends. I'll be very brief in the interest of the time. But let me just focus on the Honorable Prime Minister's visit to Kazan for the 16th BRICS Summit, which was at the invitation of President Putin. The theme of the BRICS Summit, as you all know, that strengthening multilateralism for just global development and security. Today, there have been two sessions in which Prime Minister participated. One is a closed plenary session, and the second one is open plenary session. Open plenary session included also representatives of businesses of all the member countries, as well as the financial institution representatives in the open session. At the end of the open session, the leaders adopted the Kazan Declaration, and the declaration captures the various elements and diverse elements discussed by the leaders during these sessions. It recognizes the reform for the UN and multilateral institutions. In particular, it recognizes the Johannesburg Declaration and reaffirmed the support for member countries' aspiration to be permanent members of the UN Security Council. Cooperation in the financial sector was another element. It also included elements like payment settlements in national currencies. And climate change was another area of interest for all the leaders. There was a lot of views expressed, and also combating terrorism. Prime Minister, in his remarks, clearly brought out the importance of people-centric BRICS cooperation. That was his emphasis. And the fact that the leaders have agreed to finalize list of partner countries in the expanded BRICS membership, it was welcomed. The modalities have also been finalized. So with the expansion of the BRICS, as you all know, that this is the first time that BRICS in an expanded format are meeting. The 9 members currently which have met this time. So you will have an additional partner countries. The list will be out in the net. So what it means to us is also inclusivity, diversity in the BRICS, and brings in the dimension of the global south right in the center of the BRICS discussions and discourse. So development becomes central. Prime Minister's remarks included the importance of global south. He also mentioned about the India's initiatives that have been appreciated within BRICS. For example, the Startup Forum, the skilled workforce, the Research and Development Vaccine Center, digital health, and the digital public infrastructure solutions, which are low-cost solutions for the interest of the countries of the global south. He also touched upon India's own initiatives, for example, the International Solar Alliance, the Coalition for Disaster Resilience Infrastructure, and the Lifestyle for Environment. He urged the members of the BRICS to actually participate in these initiatives. As you know, Brazil is going to take over the chairship next year. Prime Minister wished the Brazilian President Lula all the very best for the success of the Brazilian chairship, and India will fully support in that process. Thank you very much.
We open the floor for questions.
Randeep, just a couple of questions because some of us literally have a plane to catch.
Okay. So Gaurav, please.
Sir, my name is Gaurav Sawant. I work for India Today and Aaj Tak. Sir, my question is, how will this meeting lead to easing of situation along the LAC? Is there need for new confidence building measures? Will there be new confidence building measures? And will soldiers spend the 5th year at the LAC in these freezing winters? The additional 50,000 odd troops on either side.
सर, मैं विशाल पांडे हूं एबीपी न्यूज से। मेरा सवाल ये है कि आज प्रधानमंत्री मोदी और शी जिनपिंग की मुलाकात के बाद क्या ये कहा जा सकता है कि भारत और चीन के बीच रिश्ते अब सामान्य हो गए हैं, और इसी से जुड़ा हुआ कि क्या चीन पर भरोसा किया जा सकता है?
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.